Hi everyone and welcome to another video. So in this video I'll be taking a look at a very classic cassette, a 1988 Sony Metal-ES. Now the Metal-ES of course was Sony's very best Type 4 cassette, except for in 1988 and 1990, because in those 2 years Sony made the Metal Master, of course, and the Super Metal Master in the next generation. But the Metal Master will be for a different video. Yeah, so for this video, I'll be taking a look at Sony's best Type 4 before, like under the Metal Master, the 1988 Metal-ES. I actually have a 1985 Metal-ES as well. Which was their very best cassette in 1985, but again, that's for a different video. So, yeah, let's take a look at the cassette itself first. So this one is a 54-minute cassette. I got this from Japan in a video from last year where I got like a bunch of loot from Japan, which I bought. You can take a look at that video up here in the corner. It should be appearing right now. Anyway, yeah, let's look at this cassette. Yeah, so Sony made Type 4s ever since Type 4 was invented. Because, yeah, 1979 was the year when Type 4 was made, and Sony made its very first Type 4, the Sony Metallic cassette, in that year. And, yeah, at the time it was only a single Type 4 that they were putting out, the Metallic, and the same was the case in 1982. It's just a Metallic with a different shell and sticker. But in 1985 they made two different kinds, the Metal-S and the Metal-ES. And the same was the case here in 1988. So this one here is a Metal-ES, the top of the line before the Metal Master. Yeah, so now that we're done with a very short history, because I don't really have much to say about this right now, let's take a look at the cassette itself. Right now I'm actually trying out some new camera angles, so I hope you don't mind me moving the whole thing around so much. Yeah, so let's look at this cassette. Let's bring the camera up a bit closer now. Let's see how this looks. Hopefully it looks alright. Okay. So yeah. So if you look at this cassette, and I'm gonna sit down here, yeah, this is just your standard 1988 Sony shell. I have another cassette from that year, a 1988 HFES. Wait, I'm gonna grab that right now. Yeah, here. So, yeah, I have this HFES from 1988, which is still sealed. Yeah, very valuable cassette to me. And yeah, it has that same type of shell, wherein, it's like just a very small window, and then just some text with an arrow there. Well, not really an arrow, more of a line, but you know what I mean. So yeah, that is that, and that's the design of the shell, and very plain actually. Yeah, it just says here Sony Metal-ES 54, Type 4 metal bias, 70 microseconds EQ. And it says their new extralloy. I don't know what extralloy means, but it's there and it's rather new, apparently. So yeah, yeah, trying to get a good frame here with the, there you go. Okay, good enough. Yeah, it says their new extralloy with, and then with the normal lines for the time, of course. So now, if I take that out of there, we can take a look at this little J card over here. Let's zoom out. Okay, Metal-ES 54, Type 4 metal position, of course. Um, yeah, very plain stuff over here. But you know, simplicity is still really good. You know, it has a somehow like kind of, it's a shiny kind of thing. Um, yeah, it feels it looks quite shiny indeed. The 54, the indicator there, for the time. And yeah, if you look at this thing, yeah, it just says here A and B. Let me zoom in there and focus. Yeah, there you go. It just says there A, date, time, noise reduction on or off, and the type of noise reduction you're using. And the same case for side B. And on the bottom it just says Sony Magnetic Products Incorporated, Japan. Yeah, that's what it says. And on the inside, it's just the same thing. Yeah, if you flip it over though, you could like draw whatever you want. It's kind of like a math graphing paper, in a way. And on here it just says, yeah, date, time, noise reduction, source. You could choose between disc, tape, air check, and live. I still don't know what air check is. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but it is definitely something. The shell on this cassette is very rigid. Yeah, like it's extremely solid feeling, and even though it's quite light, yeah, it still feels very sturdy. You know, very sturdy thing, and you can shake it around and you can feel the individual components in there. And yeah, it's plastic, not ceramic like the Metal Master, but you know, I'm sure it's still gonna be good, you know, because the Metal Master, the ceramic on there, the only thing it does basically is reduce resonance and keep the tape stable, because with a lighter shell, it's easier for the tape to move around and wobble around and everything, and so it's easier for the tape to get you know, to get wobbly, to get wow and flutter. So the Metal Master aims to reduce that by keeping the tape very heavy, and making sure that it doesn't move so much, because of course, you know, law of inertia and all that. It's heavier, it requires more force to move and whatnot. And the same case was applied by TDK in their MAXG, in which, yeah, very heavy cassette, indeed, yes. It's very heavy, and so, yeah, it's hard to move it and hard to do like wow and flutter and whatnot. Yeah, of course it has your normal tabs on there. And if you look at the tape itself, just winded it with my Bic. Let's see if I can make it focus there. Yeah, it's a very, very, very deep black. Because you know the thing about Type 4 is that Type 4 is basically pure iron mixed with cobalt and nickel and other similar substances. And so unlike Type 1, which is ferric oxide, Type 4 is a stronger material, just pure ferric, pure iron, with of course cobalt and nickel to keep it stable and whatnot. And you know, cobalt is the same kind of material added to Type 1s to make them super ferrics, and also added to Type 1s to turn super ferrics into cobalt doped, also known as ferric cobalt Type 2, which is, yeah, like your TDK SA, Sony UX, Maxell, XL2, etc. So yeah, pure iron, and pure level, really, because this thing can take a lot of level. And by that I mean +8 kind of level without hindering any kind of, without causing any hindrance to the audio. And so it's really, really a high fidelity thing indeed. Yes. So yeah, I think that's about it for my overview of the Sony Metal-ES, one of the best Type 4s in that generation from 1988, just under the TDK MAXG and the Sony Metal Master. So yeah, now let's take a look at it in the cassette deck, my Pioneer TD7 cassette deck, to see if it really is as good as they say. Alright folks, so now it's time for the recording test. And so now I'm going to do the XD flat, which is the auto calibration. And while it's doing that, I should mention that the track we're using today is from the YouTube audio library. It's called Rich in the 80s by Div Kid. Okay? It's a little under 3 minutes. And as usual, the flex and digital noise reduction do not work during recording while monitoring, and so even if you can see the digital indicator light, that is not enabled, okay? And it's a pretty funky electronic 80s track. Of course, because it's literally called, it literally has 80s in the title. And okay, so I made this source already to peak at around +7. So there you go. And the reason why I'm using the camera mic right now is because the Tascam is already plugged into the deck's output rather. And so, yeah, it's going to start recording very soon once I press play. And of course, now you should be seeing text saying source or tape, and it's going to alternate during recording. Okay, so let us begin the test. This is Rich in the 80s. Well. Yeah, that sounded really great. Yeah. Of course, it's not absolutely exactly the same as the source because obviously tape isn't perfect, but you know, it's a really great sounding tape, and it got really close to the source, especially in terms of level. Like it was able to reach like +6, was it? Something like that. Yeah. I actually have another one of these cassettes where I recorded the Whiplash soundtrack, and yeah, it sounds really amazing. Yeah, I mean, all of these Type 4s that I have, like, Type 4 in general, is, like, obviously objectively the best sounding out of all of the four types, but, you know, seeing them, rather hearing them in action, is really something else, you know? Yeah. So apparently, while recording that little bit of banter, while I was talking about the cassette, my camera ran out of battery. So, yeah, anyway, it's charged now. Hello. And, yeah, all I have to say about this really is that Type 4 is an incredible innovation in cassettes, really, because it makes them sound so high fidelity. Really very close to a CD in terms of quality. You know, I'm sure if you combine this with, you know, Flex and digital noise reduction, or maybe Dolby S, then I'm sure people are going to mistake this for a CD because the dynamic range and the amount of level are just absolutely insane. You know, yeah, so that's about it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I should say that this was a little bit rushed because during this whole past week I've been, you know, it's been taking a while for me to do certain things, you know, like because you know I have a job and I have to do other personal things, you know, and things in the house and whatnot, and family matters. And so yeah, it's taken me a while to do these cassette videos, but you know, no matter what, always I'm going to be uploading every single Saturday because you know that's just my commitment. Um, Now I should say thank you for crossing 100 subscribers. Yeah, it's really a great milestone. Um, at the moment, as of recording, which is Saturday, literally today, 5:30 p.m., I have 127 subscribers, which is just insane. And what's great is that apparently one of my videos has become trending. The Gary Kasparov video, the viewer plays Bong Cloud against Gary Kasparov. It's been getting so many views lately. At the moment, it has 30,000, which is just really insane. And you know, it just kind of shows the irony of YouTube. You know, the videos that I spend literal weeks or even months working on, like the HF versus HF shootout, or the I played Gary Kasparov chess analysis video. You know, those ones which I spend so many hours, days, weeks, months working on. Those get like basically zero traction, and then the ones that become really big are the ones I spend little to no effort on, such as this one. Yeah, viewer plays Bong Cloud against Gary Kasparov. But nonetheless, thank you very much, because you know there are, you know, so many great people in the chess community and in the cassette community. Um so yeah, really awesome. 30,000 views, just insane. Yeah, and 100 subscribers. I mean, you folks are really kind. You know, I love scrolling through all of the comments and seeing all of the people who I you know, entertained through the videos. And you know, my goal on YouTube was never to get lots of views, or get money or anything. It's really just kind of a passion project, because I want to show the world the beauty of the compact cassette, because I want to show people that this medium is not just something that's, it's not just something that's so noisy and has like so wobbly and gets tangled up in all of the machines. No, it's a great medium. And in reality, I've always been saying this. The people who are misjudging cassettes, they're basically judging vinyl, but the only equipment they have is a Crosley Cruiser. Yeah, and cassettes are, they deserve better. They're really much greater things. Anyway, enough of that rambling for the time being. Once again, thank you oh so very much for watching the video and for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And yeah, that's about it for this video. That's about it for the Sony Metal-ES 54 from 1988. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. And be sure to check out my other videos. You can see a playlist with a bunch of my cassette videos up here in the corner. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Yeah, goodbye.